From running an email scam to conning rental companies, tricking a charter company to fly him and several models to a shoot in Cape Town, posing as an executive producer at SABC 3, convincing people he was an executive of a 21st Century Fox subsidiary, making millions off a scam construction company while still in prison, creating a scam Netflix show, living in a 40,000 monthly rental mansion in Sandton with a celebrity girlfriend. This man was rumored to have made multi-millions of rands, and I have never heard nor seen con artistry of this level in my life. What I am about to tell you today is like scenes straight out of the movie Catch Me If You Can. For those who don't know Catch Me If You Can, it's a movie about notorious con artist Frank Abagnale, who duped people worth millions of dollars with his masterful art of deception. One aspect of Thabo Bester that no one seems to be talking about is how the heck did he make so much money? I decided to dig deep into the internet archives looking for old and recent articles, and what I found will actually blow your minds. For those of you who don't know who Thabo Bester is, in my own summary or in my own words, he's a horrible serial killer and a very skilled con artist from our country of South Africa. We'll talk about his gruesome crimes some other time. Today we are following the money trail, baby. We're following the money trail. It requires a lot of money to pull off the prison break this man orchestrated. If you've watched Prison Break before, then you know that money rolls even at correctional facilities. A few bribes here, a few bribes there, and Thabo Bester probably had massive influence in prison, the same way Jonah Brutzi gained influence on Prison Break. So let's turn back the hands of time. Let's go back to 2011 when his con ways really started taking off. In 2011, Thabo Bester created a very elaborate system using 13 different identities. He sent emails to women telling them international modeling scouts were looking for them. In order to make the email convincing enough, he would place a contact number for a secretary. He successfully convinced several women to attend appointments with him. During this time, Thabo started becoming infamous, appearing on a few articles for telling young beautiful women that he can secure them jobs in the modeling industry, and then swindling them out of their cell phones, laptops, and the money. He would frequently use the name Thomas Bester. His true identity wasn't uncovered until he started committing some really gruesome acts to those women that were looking for those jobs in the modeling industry.
That somehow I liked, somehow she told me her dreams, we got very close. You can imagine if you're taking a 26-hour bus and you took 4 days together and you're going to know a lot about each other. So it drained me personally.
Bester was running scams across the country, focusing on Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban. His crimes kept becoming increasingly violent until he was caught and served 2 years of a 3-year sentence for fraud under the name Thabo Makaku. Shortly after his release, he broke parole and started taunting the police again. It's like this man always had an itchy bone and he just needs to scratch it all the time. Whether he's in prison or in the free world, there's just no stopping his malice. Remember the Lieutenant Colonel who was on Thabo Bester's neck? Shortly after Thabo was released from that first imprisonment, the Lieutenant Colonel Boysen started receiving calls from people who had been approached or scammed by Thabo Bester. If this doesn't sound like the movie Catch Me If You Can, then honestly I don't know. Police believe Bester was stealing 2 to 3 laptops daily, in addition to running other scams, where he asked women to pay him for auditions and setting up elaborate photo shoots and making off with their belongings. Like, talk about multitasking, this man just knew what he was doing.
Man like you can buy anything he wants.
At one point, he convinced the Joburg Shutter Company to collect him and several models and fly them to Durban. A spokeswoman for this company said the company was supposed to pick up Bester as well, who used the name Tom Kelly to book the flight, but his payment didn't clear. This is really wild, honestly. This is wild. The more I dig deeper and deeper trying to understand this man's mind, the more I feel dumbfounded. There is such a stroke of evil genius that even I wouldn't attempt any of these things, and they seem to be implemented in such a sophisticated manner.
Priming him, programming his subconscious. He's been seeing the number 55 all day long.
Let me tell you about the time when he robbed some people of their equipment, and then maybe you can understand what I mean by sophisticated. During the same period in time, there's a moment when Thabo Bester rented 2 buses and booked a photographic crew for a shoot. When all the camera equipment was loaded in the buses, he announced that everyone was going for lunch. When one cameraman tried to take the camera with him, he told the cameraman that he would only take responsibility for the equipment left on the buses. These simple words right there managed to convince this cameraman to leave the camera behind. Then boom, all the equipment was stolen. This man truly has a silver tongue. He knew exactly what to say and when to say. Just imagine. With that simple yet sophisticated process, he robbed an entire group of people. But oh, there's still more. Remember, we're still in his early days. We haven't reached the recent lucrative scams that made him millions of rands. There was a time when he got 13 models and told them he had set up an audition for them. He got them to pay for the audition and then told them all their laptops and phones needed to be scanned for security purposes. When the models went to their hotel rooms, where he told them they could collect their belongings, you can all guess what happened next. Yes, all the phones were gone, vanished just like that with all their belongings. Unbelievable deception skills. Honestly, even I would have fallen for that one, so I don't even blame those models one bit. When I went into this research, I wasn't expecting to find what I'm finding right now. I was expecting only to find a ruthless serial killer, but this man's ability to make money in illegal ways is just mind-blowing. During the early years of his money-swindling activities, there came a time where his Facebook profile claimed he attended high school in Free State, lived in Cape Town and California, but his hometown, wait for it, being in France. He knew our fellow South Africans love European and American foreigners. They absolutely worship the ground on these European people. He even went as far as to claim he was an executive producer at SABC3. Oh, believe me, a lot of people actually believed his identities. He always found a way to come up with a story that people would actually buy into. If they didn't buy into the story at first sight, he knew the words to use to sell himself and his fraudulent ideas to them.
The clients you have are absolutely... Fuck the clients. Your only responsibility is to put meat on the table.